Now, it's no secret that you can get just about anything off the internet these days, and I thought it'd be a fun experiment to see if a guitar can sound good with budget-friendly items off of Amazon. Now, we'll disclose that I'm a big supporter in supporting your local mom and pop shops. This video is just for entertainment purposes only to see what we can get away with buying low-budget parts off of Amazon. Now, with that being said, let's take a look at how I put this thing together. My name is Chris Ellis. Let's dive in. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to want to do is make sure everything fits. So make sure that you have a good tight neck fit. Make sure that your pick guard holes all line up, and very importantly, make sure your bridge is the correct size. So make sure all those 6 of those screws are lining up. Here's a proper way to take the neck out. Just a little firm push down by the headstock, securing at the joint. The first thing with the new body is we want to countersink all the holes to avoid any finish chip out. And a way we can do that is put your drill in reverse with any countersink bit that you have and just do a little circle motion. You can also use a Phillips head screwdriver to do this if you have one that's all beat up and not really getting much use anymore. Now we're going to do the pickguard assembly, and these are the pickups that I got off Amazon, just some 50s style low output single coils that I thought would go good with this build. And let me know in the comments what you think of these. So pretty straightforward. Get your bushings and screw in the pick guard, put the pickup underneath that, and then just tighten down until it grabs. Cool, now that we got the pickups in, we're gonna set the harness in place. Make sure to put your lock washers on all your pots. This keeps them from moving around too much and dislocating a solder joint potentially in the future. So for now, we're just gonna hand tighten these. Get our five-way switch put in place. Here's another cool tip for this ESP tool that you can use, is it can also be used to tighten your pots and also take off your pots. Now we're getting ready to solder. All the black wires on the pickups are ground, and the white and yellow are your leads. White and yellows go to the switch, ground can go to any pot. Typically they go to the first pot in line, which is the volume pot. Want to make sure that we get a nice, good solder joint there. Don't want any cold solder joints. Making sure that that stays there. Give a little tug and mess around with the wires, make sure they're in place and they're not going to disconnect. Next, we're going to actually put the neck on. And one thing you want to make sure is that you have low torque on your drill and you go just almost to where it's fully tightened. The rest of this you're going to want to do by hand. And the reason for that is if you keep going with that drill, it's just going to drive that plate into the back of the body. So to avoid this, just get as close as you can and then just hand tighten. You can use the drill to hand tighten, or you take your screwdriver. A good way to lubricate the bolts is putting them in some sort of wax. And this just helps them drive into the neck a little bit easier. And you can use that method on a lot of other things, like the claw screws here. Typically like to drill these in before actually putting the claw in there, just to get the holes going. Just drill them in to about there and then back them all the way out. Put the wax on them again and then insert them with the claw attached. This can be kind of a tricky one, and you're definitely going to want some sort of power tool for this. Now that we have the claw inserted with the screws, next step is to set up your ground wire. And what I'm doing here is just scraping a little bit of the plating off of it so I can get a stronger connection for that ground wire to grab onto. So once we got that attached, we're going to slip it to the front. And that's going to go to one of the pots. Feed our output jack through. Secure that in place. Then we can cut some of these leads off. Again, we got black going to ground and white is your lead. Tinning your components helps a lot when you're trying to solder, especially when you got a lot going on already. So we're going to grab our lead, put it on the volume pot middle lug, and we're going to take our ground and we're going to put it on that back potentiometer right there. You can go on any one, but that's just the closest one to it and typically the easiest. And here again, we're going to wax up some screws. These are going into the bridge. And place our bridge on there. And the thing with this is you don't want to tighten these all the way down right away. Just get them to where they're almost touching the top of the plate, and then give it just a couple more turns by hand. We do not want the screws tightened all the way down. If you notice on the bridge, there's a little lip that wants to kick up, or that does kick up. So if you tighten it down, you're going to kink the bridge forward, which we don't want, and the bridge won't work properly if you do that. So just tighten it enough to where the top of that screw just rests on that plate. You can see me here loosening and tightening where I want these to sit. So now it's time to put the springs on the back. Just clip that end into the block and then pull up till you reach the claw. If you need to, you can loosen the claw forward or closer to you so you don't have to pull as far. You want to be very careful when putting these on or taking these off. There are a couple extra tips to get these off if you don't want to do it by hand. But if you're not careful, you're going to do what I did here, and let me tell you, it hurts. So once you got those on, can tighten down your pick guard. And once you get the strings on, you go through your full setup. If you have any questions on setup, I have a full video on how to do that, as well as how to intonate on specific bridges, and strats are in there. So please go check those videos out. Here I got the guitar set up, just making some final intonation adjustments. Quick playthrough. And finishing up by putting the knobs on. And there we go. We got us fully built and ready to play Stratocaster. The neck I got off of a 82 or 83 Squire, just a neck I've had laying around for a while. And I matched the rest of the guitar to give it that old vibe. Just kind of what I was going for. Thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, please comment, like, and if you haven't already, subscribe. Would really appreciate it. I'll see you all in the next one.